Lazy daisy stitch. Lazy daisy stitch is a really simple and effective way to make flower petals and small leaves. I am going to show you how to do it a few times, and then I will show you how it is often implemented. So let's get started. So I have all of my supplies ready. I have a pair of scissors to snip my thread. I have my fabric already placed inside the hoop. I have a piece of cotton on top and a piece of felt underneath to add stability and opaqueness to my fabric. I have two different colors of embroidery floss. This is 6-stranded cotton embroidery floss in pink and green. I'm only using 3 strands, and I have it threaded through my needle and knotted at the end. To make my lazy daisy stitch, I am going to do 2 simple things. I am going to bring my needle up through the front of my fabric and make a loop on top. Now I will bring my needle back down right next to or in the same hole that I just came up through. I will bring most of my thread down, leaving that loop on top, and bring my thread up at the top of where I want my flower petal to be, and pull it through, catching that loop, and bring it back down over top the loop so that I have a clean lazy daisy. So I'll bring it up top, bring it back down into the same hole or next to the same hole. It is not necessary to be super precise, and bring it back down. You can make that top stitch very long, or you can make it very small so that it blends in with your loop. I usually denote my lazy daisy stitches on patterns as either a straight line or maybe a small loop. But either way, you always just want to come up at the base, make your loop, come up through the loop, and back down. There you go. When making a flower, there are several lines radiating from the center. So my center will be where I bring my needle up and back down for the loops. And at the top of those lines, or the end of those lines, is where I will be tacking the loop down. And this is where it's useful to come up through the same, go down right next to it, and that way you aren't building up too much bulk in the exact same spot. You can turn your work as you make these loops. And you can use your hands if you have trouble catching the loop with just the needle. And there you have a little daisy. Aside from making flowers with my lazy daisy stitch, I really like to use it to make leaves. So I have a line here that I backstitched with my green thread. And I'm going to come up on the line and make my loop, coming back down and at the top. And it's a really basic leaf, but it's kind of simple and stylized, and I really like it. It's one of my go-tos for when I am doing like a cutesy embroidered leaf or embroidered vine. And it certainly takes much less time than satin stitching a bunch of leaves. So I'm just going to go down the line . So those are my Lazy Daisy stitches. I really like the simplicity of this stitch. I like how stylized it is, and I like how cute it is. If you use more strands of thread, you'll have a bulkier leaf or petal shape. And if you use fewer strands of thread, you'll have a much thinner shape. Of course, the longer your stitch is, the more narrow the petal or leaf will be, and the shorter that it is, the more rounded it will seem. But other than that, that's Lazy Daisy. I used the Lazy Daisy stitch quite a lot on my Frog King pattern, which is available to patrons and also on my Etsy. Thanks so much for watching. Happy stitching.